Hey guys, and welcome to Planet PUP. Today I've got a 9-month-old border collie with me. His name's Freddie and he struggles with a little bit of resource guarding. So today I'm going to take you through a few different tips and tricks that you can do to prevent resource guarding in your puppies in the first place. But if you do have a dog that is resource guarding, these are a few things that can help you with that as well. So the main thing that you have to understand about resource guarding is it's a very natural thing for dogs to do. And dogs guard their resources because they feel like when you're coming into their space that their stuff is going to get taken away. So what we want to do is teach them that when we come into their space, sometimes their stuff might get taken away, but if it is taken away, then we're going to trade it for something better. And we're also going to teach them that when we come into their space, especially when they're around their food bowl or a toy or whatever they're actually guarding at that time, that when we come there, it's a good thing. So the way that we're going to do that is by taking some of their food or some treats and actually adding it into that space. So I'm going to start with Freddie's food bowl and I'm going to place a few treats into the food bowl and then he's going to eat them, and as he looks up at me, I'm going to put some more in. And then what I'm going to do is alternate that with just every once in a while as he's eating, I'm going to just take a few and just drop them in over his head. Now I know that Freddie has a bit of an issue with resource guarding, so I'm not going to put my hand too close to the bowl, so don't do that because we don't want anyone getting bitten. But if you can put your hand just above the bowl and just kind of drop a piece of kibble in or drop a treat in, so that the dogs really learn that every time that you come in, something good happens. And then we'll cover, if he's resource guarding a toy, how we can actually get that off of him if we need to. But then also remember that while you're training this, when you take it off of them, it's very important for you to be able to give it back to them too, so that they realize that that when you take something away, you're not taking it away for good, and that they're actually going to get it back. And good things happen when you take things away. So we're going to try start training. Freddie looks like he's due for a nap at the moment. Freddie, mister, are you tired? Are you tired? He'll perk up in a second once the food comes out. But he's looking like a very lazy little border collie at the moment. Good boy. Okay, so let's get started.
So starting off with an empty bowl, I'm going to place some kibble into it and let Freddie eat and step away. Then periodically, I'm going to be stepping back in. As he looks up at me, I'm going to be adding a few more pieces of kibble in. So he's not overly comfortable. Every time that I step in, he's kind of looking at me out of the top of his eyes. But then I'm putting a few more pieces of kibble in, and then he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. And he kind of carries on eating. So every time I'm stepping away, giving him a bit of space, stepping back, and when he's looking at me, I'm then putting some kibble in. So here you'll see he freezes. If your dog freezes like that, just give them a second until they actually look up at you again. And once they look up at you, good dog, and then you put a bit more food into their bowl. So now I'm going to move on to a different exercise, where as Freddie's eating, I'm just going to keep dropping pieces of food into his bowl from above his head. You see every time my hand comes close, he does that little freeze and the ears go back, but overall he seems to be accepting it okay. And the more that we do this exercise with him, the more that he'll realize that hands coming towards him when he's eating in his bowl mean good things are happening. It's important at this stage, because we're trying to make him comfortable with hands coming towards his bowl, that I'm not going to be touching it. I'm just bringing my hands into his space, dropping food there, and kind of letting him carry on eating. This is one of those exercises where the dog is going to dictate how fast or how slow you can go with them. So while he's still freezing like that, every time that I come close, I'm definitely not going to be touching that bowl. Freddie's trying to tell me in the best way that he knows how that he's not overly comfortable with me being around his bowl. So I just need to work with him until we can change that, until he realizes that me coming towards his bowl means that good things are happening. So now I'm going to start upping the ante and use slightly higher value treats than I was using before. He still seems okay when I'm coming towards his bowl, which is great. So now if we don't need to get the bowl off of him while he's hunched over it like that, and it's the same with the toy, you just take a treat and you throw it off to the side. And then you pick up whatever the dog was guarding or whatever the dog was into, but then it's important that you give it back to them. So we give it back to them to show them that even if we take it away, we're not going to be taking it away forever. Now Freddie's really smart, and he looked at the kibble in the bowl and said, excuse me, there's no treats in there. But the fact that he's watching me instead of actually resource guarding the bowl, that's fine. I'm quite happy with that behavior. So now I'm throwing a few treats into his bowl. He's like, oh, thanks. He eats the treat, but there again, he looks at me after that. So now he knows that the treats are coming from me, the food is coming from me. Good things are coming from me when I'm coming near his bowl. Throw the treat off to the side, picking up his bowl, and giving it back to him again. So now because he's been doing so well with that, I decided to try and pick the bowl up from straight in front of him and give him a treat. It's important to note that when I did this, he wasn't hunched over his bowl, he wasn't eating, he wasn't frozen, the ears and tail weren't down. He was looking at me and he was waiting for whatever was coming next, which was perfect. So now he's realizing that as I'm picking up the bowl, he gets a treat and then the bowl still comes back down. He doesn't miss out on anything that's in the bowl and the bowl keeps coming back to him afterwards. So now I'm really testing him and I'm only putting tasty treats in the bowl. So I put it down in front of him. He knows I've put good things down. And I'll try again, step back in and drop another one in. And you see there the body language is way better. He's laying down, he's quite relaxed. He still kind of froze and looked at me there for a second. But all in all, much better response than what we were getting earlier. So seeing as he was doing so well there, I tried touching the bowl, and after touching the bowl, I gave him a treat. Again, touching it and giving him a treat. I see he kind of freezes over it there again. This is by no means a one-day fix, but doing this over and over again will make a huge difference in the way that this dog guards his food. So because he'd stayed frozen there for a little while, I decided to just step back for a few seconds and give him his space. And once he's comfortable and eating again and looks at me, I then come in and I give him another treat. So now I'm just going to do a few more repetitions of throwing the toy away and grabbing his bowl. Seeing as he's doing so well and he's so comfortable, I'm going to try and pick his bowl up while it's right in front of him. But there again, the bowl always comes back down and then he gets the treat after that.
Yes.
So this is exactly what you would do if they were in a bone or a toy or something like that. Is you take something a little bit tastier, throw it off to the side, pick up whatever you wanted, put it back down for them, and reward them. You can see Freddy's becoming more and more relaxed as this exercise is going on. He's laying down quite comfortably now. Food bowl comes up. Food bowl comes back down again. You can see now that his entire body language has changed. Every time that I step in, instead of trying to guard his bowl and freezing and staring at me, he's looking up at me going, "Oh, what do you have for me next?" Now I can pick his bowl up, he gets a treat, bowl comes back down.
So by doing that kind of thing as the puppy grows up, he'll really learn that every time that you come to something that he wants, that good things happen because you're bringing really tasty stuff with you. And even if you do this like once or twice every mealtime that you have, and if you've got a dog that's resource aggressive, you do the same thing, right? You might just need to start from a little further away. But yeah, it's essentially the same principle. It's just all about trading. And if they know that you're going to trade whatever they have for something better, then they'll be happy to give things up to you all the time. So I hope that helped, and best of luck with your resource guarding puppy, and happy training. Bye guys.